So I used to think that growing on social media was just luck. I would continuously throw videos at the wall, hoping that one would go viral until I realized that I just had the wrong strategy. And when I found the right strategy, I gained 100,000 followers within 90 days, and now I'm sitting at 282,000 followers on one account, 41,000 followers on another account, and I'm gaining tens of thousands of followers every single month. And I did this through a 5-phase system that allowed me to get here. And it was the exact same system that I gave my client Alvaro, and he gained 100,000 views on his first video after he joined my creator club. So this stuff works. And today I want to break down the exact 5 phases that I went through to gain the following that I've got currently, so that you can just replicate it and take the lessons and apply them to your own life. So the first phase that I went through was just a trial phase. And this is not a phase that I recommend anybody really start with, but I have to go through it because it was an important part of my journey. And this phase was basically just like, I followed the typical advice, find a niche, stay consistent, and post daily. And this led to me posting content for almost a year and seeing absolutely no results. I was emotionally attached to my content. If my content performed kind of well, I'd be happy. If it performed badly, I'd be sad. I was hardly building. I think I gained about 1,000 followers over the course of a year, but I was creating content with no intention. I wanted to be a travel content creator, so I would go out, I would take videos of travel stuff, and like me jumping in a lake or me jumping off a cliff or like going hiking or something like that, just like pretty videos, but there was no intention behind them. All the videos were designed to make me look cool because I thought that's how you get followers on social media. But I was so naive because I think it's the mistake that most people make when they start out on social media, is that they make content to make themselves look cool, but what they don't realize is that no one cares about you and they care about what value you can provide them. So if you just switch the mindset from how do I look cool to how do I help you or how do I provide value to you, then you're going to be successful. And if you set out with the intention of helping people, that's what actually makes you cool. So it wasn't until I figured that out that anything happened. But one of the videos that I did post over that year period, where I was posting videos and putting myself out there on social media and low-key embarrassing myself in front of my friends and family, trying to be a travel influencer, but not getting any views. One of the videos did actually hit, and it hit on TikTok. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And that gave me the confidence to keep going, because I was like, right, maybe that was luck, but social media does work. Like, I can go viral. My account is not broken, which a lot of people think when they start also, they think the algorithm hates them. So I was like, well, okay, this video went viral. Why did it go viral? And, throughout that year period, I started to, see trends of what kind of visual content that people would like. And, because the content I was posting was not educational, not relatable, not entertaining, not inspirational. Well, potentially inspirational, but like, it was just videos of pretty places. And that's pretty pointless content. Like, why would anybody follow you for that? It provides no value to anybody. It's just to make you look cool. But what I did learn from there is like what type of visuals that people like more than others. So I did take some lessons from it. But the next phase that I went into, once I went through that first phase where I was kind of just collecting content and posting randomly without a strategy, is the next phase I went into making like trending content. And this is typically what most people will do. And it's honestly the phase that I recommend you start with. Because making trending content, the purpose of trending content is to get the reach. You're going to get eyeballs when you make trending content. It is probably the most likely content that has viral potential. You're taking concepts that already have proven virality. You're not coming up with your own ideas, which is, just to be clear, is kind of pointless in this day and age in social media. But you're not coming up with your own ideas. You're just taking proven viral concepts off creators that you follow and replicating them, making your own versions of these videos, which is a fantastic strategy, because why would you come up with your own ideas when everything you need, every idea you could possibly ever want, is right in front of you? And there's a few ways to find proven viral concepts. Of course, most people will just go and scroll through the Reels tab and then say, oh, I can remake this, but I wouldn't say that that's the best strategy. What I typically like to do if I was looking to make trending content, or what I did back then as well, is I would download a Chrome extension called SortFeed. And SortFeed is basically just a plugin for Google Chrome that you can apply to anyone's profile, and it sorts their videos, their reels, from most viewed to least viewed. And then I would be looking at the videos that are most viewed and trying to replicate those videos. You can also do a similar strategy on TikTok where you can just search keywords for your niche. So say you're making content about hiking. You can type in hiking, and then you can filter the posts by most liked and then recent, and then just copy the viral concepts that are there. And this is a great strategy to get off the ground. Find a bank of viral content that then you can replicate and give yourself the greatest possible chance at going viral, because that's what you need at the start. You don't really engagement doesn't matter at the start. There's no point in having an engaged account with no followers. You just need the reach at the start, and trending content is what's going to get you that reach. So just what I would say is, when you're making trending content, know that it's a means to an end, because trending content doesn't last. It is a trend. It is by default, it ends. And if you only make trending content, it's not going to keep you relevant and not going to keep people engaged over a long period of time. But it gets you off the ground. It gets the algorithm to know you, trust you, and gets your account to start moving. And it is, it's super, super effective. So trending content is what I would start with. Then you can move on to phase 3. And this is what I did, where I started making more educational content. And, I've said it before, but every single piece of content you have to put out on social media has to either fall in one of 4 categories: education, entertainment, relatability, or inspiration. And I feel like education is probably the best kind of content that you could create on social media, because typically educators make the most money. You're probably going to want to monetize your audience later down the line. And if you do, then creating educational content, you're going to build the best audience to monetize, because typically people who want to be educated on social media will then pay for more education. And this is why courses exist. This is why, even me, I launched a travel guide, which I'll get onto later. That's why that exists. We're all just selling even more information to what we're already distributing on social media. So if you're distributing education on social media, the easiest thing to sell people is more education. So I started making voiceovers and creating educational content around my travels. I would teach people about the best places to visit in a specific country, the best location to visit in a specific place and how you get there, or how to find friends when you're traveling, or how to travel on a budget. All these kind of things make your account much more engaged. This is engagement content. So trends are reach content, and education is typically engagement content. It's not really designed to go viral, but you attract a higher quality of follower when you post educational content. And if you're in the business of, if you want to make social media and content creation your career, then I would say that the quality of your followers matters a lot more than the amount of followers you've got. Because I know people, that have millions of followers that don't make the money they should. And I know people with, 30,000 followers that making, 50K a month, because their content's different and the quality of their followers is a lot higher. When you're not creating viral content, you're typically creating content that's for a specific person that solves a specific problem for them. So they're much more inclined to buy than somebody who just came onto your account from a trend. So that is the next phase. The next phase is educational content, and the way I would recommend doing this is voiceovers. The easiest way to do voiceovers is literally just, you don't need to buy mics like me. You can just speak into your phone on voice memos. So write a script, speak into your phone on voice memos, and then edit it together and make the visuals match what you're saying in the clip. It is super, super simple. And it's a much more sustainable method of making content, rather than just like scrolling through reels and trying to find inspiration all the time, which can typically lead to burnout. So that was the third phase. Then the fourth phase is, once I had warmed up to my audience to the fact that I'm educating them about travel destinations, and specifically travel destinations in the Alps, I'd gained 100,000 followers, more than 100,000 followers actually. And then I was like, I'm still not making any money, because this was just, I was still learning. It was still a big trial and error process for me. I was still not making any money, but I was like, okay, what kind of content on my page performs the best? And it was content that was somewhat educational and about the Alps. So I was like, why don't I make a guide to the Alps, a digital product that says this is 100 beautiful places to visit in the Alps. And I was really scared to make this, and I was really scared to sell this to my audience, because typically, most content creators are scared to sell to their audience because they think they're going to get unfollowed. They think that people hate being sold to. They do, but it's necessary. What happened was I actually launched this guide, and I gained even more followers when I launched this guide. I actually gained 50,000 followers within like 2 months after the launch of this guide. And I was like, why did that happen? And the reason that happened is because I went from being a generic travel content creator to being a resource of value for planning trips in the Alps. So people associated me with value, and that's why they followed me. And this is why educational content converts more viewers to followers. This is why when you have a product to offer, you're going to convert more viewers to followers. And this is why trending content, it's inherently not that valuable. It's going to be really hard to convert the people who watch your trend to following you. I mean, how often do you follow the people that you scroll through reels with? Not often. But if somebody really educates you and you resonate with their content, you will follow them. So I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, I'm making money, I'm selling to my audience, and I'm gaining more followers. So launching a digital product and solidifying your value, your perceived value in people's minds, it's just a hack. It's an ultimate hack. So after I launched that digital product, I was like, right, okay, I can't keep selling forever. I can't sell in every single piece of content. So I was like, why don't I just start another account that's designed to sell my digital products? And I was like, how am I going to grow an account from 0 to something? And this was phase 5. And this phase 5 is what I did was I married a format of content. So what I did was when I launched this page, I launched it with a series. And I said that I was going to revamp my digital products. So instead of having a guide on the Alps, I was going to have a guide on the Swiss Alps specifically, and then the Dolomites, but this is another area of the Alps. But to launch the page, I said I'm going to start a series where I teach you about a new location to visit in the Alps every single day until the launch of my guide. So that series gained me like 10,000 followers within like 2 weeks, because people knew what to expect. I was educating people and I was providing value, and there was an anticipation that I was going to launch another guide, which people want to then remember, and therefore they want to remember me, so they'll follow me. And then when I figured out, the format of content that worked and the style that worked for me, I just married that format. I made hundreds and hundreds of videos that are essentially the exact same, but they talk about different locations in the Alps. And you could do this you could apply this to any niche. It was essentially just one big series. Every single video that I post on my second page, which I, for the record, grew to 40,000 followers within 8 weeks. Every single video on that page starts with the same hook, which is like, this is the X place in the Alps. Like, this is the most beautiful mountain in the Alps. This is the bluest lake in the Alps. This is the craziest cabin in the Alps. Every single video starts with the same hook. They then go on to talk about the location, how people get there, provide value to people, how I feel when I'm there, and then at the end, I provide a call to action where I say, if you want to find out about more locations in the Alps, they've got a guide, and you can comment your favorite fruit. And the reason I get people to comment different words like their favorite fruit, or, the reason they want to visit Switzerland, or, their favorite color, is because I don't want people commenting the same word. This is an extra nugget of value. I don't want people commenting the same word, because if everybody comments the same word, Instagram reduces your reach. And I learned that from the CEO of Instagram, Mosserai, so I'm not just making this stuff up. So I try and get people to comment different words, like their favorite fruit. Somebody's going to comment orange, apple, it's different words. So Instagram won't reduce my reach as much. But yeah, that's essentially what I did. I married that format of content, and because everybody knew what to expect every single day, the followers just came rolling in, and it was extremely easy to gain followers on that account. And I grew to 40,000 followers within 8 weeks, whereas the first year of making content, I grew like 1,000 followers within a year. But it's just like the only difference is I had more knowledge, and I had a structure and had an action plan, and I could provide value to people. That's literally the only difference between phase 5 and phase 1. That's pretty much it. So if creating content is something you want to do, I would highly encourage you to do it. I mean, I get to live this incredible life where I post about things that I enjoy, make some money, and now I'm staying in this crazy cabin. Oh my God, I got pins and needles. Crazy cabin in Iceland. I've got pins and needles on my foot because it was on my But like, you can probably see outside, it's really nice. I'm staying in this nice cabin here, and I've got pins and needles on my feet really bad because I was sitting with my leg crossed to make this video for you guys. But I'm going to enjoy the rest of the day. I hope you enjoy yours, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.